I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is Sunday morning, and it's the last day of September. Excuse me. I'm up early this morning. I just had some coffee. I turned it on CNN, and let me remind you that when I did the book in Atlanta about mind control, which is how Larry Flint was shot of Hustler magazine, and he helped me in a campaign. Let me make sure I get this one up. Because all my life I have been put in a hellhole that nobody can imagine, and my children. And I hope the fact they've gotten away with it this long is because the press doesn't touch it, because I can't get an attorney to represent me. And in part, there's another aspect to this. And so help me, that's probably the only way I will get any kind of justice from this family who are fakes and deserve nothing but to get handcuffed, stripped down, buck naked, run into prison, and God sit in judgment. Okay, Elizabeth and company? Now then, I'm watching the world. Maybe, I hope not all of them are taken in. Somehow my rags don't impress people in the information I'm giving and the fact that I am Queen Victoria II. I am the legal heir. And this woman's father helped take down his own brother with lies. Does it not matter the crimes these people have committed? They're illegal in her relationship with other countries. So now then, you can dismiss my father, who loved his country. He never backed away from it. It was taken from him, as was his daughter, me, and his grandsons, Mark and Scott. You know, what a payback if this is allowed to go on. They are using the same tactics. Let me remind you, when my father wouldn't follow the Illuminati's orders. And this is when they installed George VI. I've said it over and over. Illegally in 1937, the same year the double imposter. And I do this, and I'm afraid somebody's going to say something about it if I raise my voice. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm disturbing anybody here. I live in a motel. And anyway, they've hoodwinked. That's not the word. They are the biggest criminals ever walked the face of the planet. This woman has stolen. Someone said that that I didn't pay for Megan's gowns and wedding, and that goes for all of it. The horses that she has, that's not hers. She stole. Her father did my job. My father's job, my kid's job. They're illegal. I can't get it across. If you're going to do this and I'm talking about this country supported it. I mean, it wasn't just Winston Churchill. It was JFK. It was Roosevelt was such a part. Franklin Delanor's whole family is sickening. If you can get in and get the timelines of all this, it is sick to the core. But of course, if you get hoodwinked into the jewels and the fact that when she stops eating, you stop eating, well, that's a bunch of bull to me. I don't know, someone would say, well, if everybody doesn't follow protocol, well, some protocol's a bunch of bull, and I don't know another word for it. Now, if you don't like my language and telling the truth, then you certainly shouldn't like this woman, who's not even the monarch. She's a fake and a fraud and a traitor and a war criminal. She's no better than Wallace Warfield Simpson or Lina Dempsey that killed her twins, and they put me over here in 1941, a little girl at age 2, and it's horror story my whole life. Yet I sit here and I'm trying to get my country back. And the things that Elizabeth, her father, let happen. Let me remind you again. He allowed He was the one that allowed the United States to come in, and that was part of Winston Churchill, Eisenhower, later Truman, a part of my own family. And well, I'm not going to say anything. I don't think all my family, in fact, some of them I know tried to help me. I do. There's too many people wanted me dead, and they showed up. It didn't make sense at the time they showed up because I couldn't remember. At least I'm told I knew subconsciously all my life, but it was when I was actually told after I was in the campaign in '83 to replace Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald. I've been telling you about mind control murders, about the Illuminati that kidnapped me. She works for them. She's a high-ranking member. If you want to track down the data, the treaties and all this that came to be when they took my father down, that allowed all this to happen. It allowed, all the treaties, the NATO, all of it. There's a whole bunch of them that allowed the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedys, all this to transpire and become the United Nations up in New York City. They are your governing body. This, you can say goodbye to these so-called elections for president, prime ministers. They control it. And they had to make everybody look bad or assassinate a few people, leaders along the way. They assassinated my father with lies, character assassination. My God, when you can take down a decent man who was guilty of loving his country, and that's my country. You may not like it. She's so indoctrinated some people, and I'm not lumping everybody into this. I'm certainly not, because over the years, since I can remember, there has been Brits showing up that saved my life. So don't you ever think, but over time, here's the whole deal, and see, people get mad because when the truth infringes on their best interest, you get the people who will run from their country, and the UK was invaded. They didn't have friends helping them. They were invaded. And what do you think? The United States military is all under the UK, all over Australia, Area 51. A few years ago, they told you they didn't have an Area 51 here in the States. Well, now we know, well, we always knew they did, and God knows what else, but they're all over the planet here. That should tell you something. They're all over Germany. So that's the reason they came into the UK and took my father down and kidnapped me. So now then, my wish was to repay the British that helped me so much along the way. That's my country. Get it in your head. That's my country. I was kidnapped at age 2. My father and mother paid a hell of a price. So have the British that come after me and tried to save me, along with some Americans and the Germans. And I don't know who else. And one day I wish I would get to thank them all and do what I can to repay them. By the way, I'm also looking up here at the CNN that was Ted Turner. Isn't it odd? I mean, a little bit odd. I don't say that's the reason they put him up there yesterday. It had to already be planned. I made a comment on the video yesterday morning about Ted Turner, and I went into telling about, I didn't know about my real name back then, but a lot of people did. My husband and I went to all the media there. It was Ted Turner at first, later CNN, took information, documents, letter from the FBI, etc., to the Atlanta Journal, only to find out later that the Atlanta Journal was owned by Hearst Broadcasting, the Patty Hearst kidnapping, and that was like a little bit like tit for tat. You kidnapped me and you tortured me, and then thank God I had some people come after me. When I say you, I'm talking about Winston Churchill that he's, when I put it in the you, the people that helped kidnap me and take down my father. So if I'm rambling a little bit here, I'm looking at these friggin' people up here drawing salaries on CNN. They are a bunch of liars. They have not told the truth. They've deleted me, what happened to my father, and it's such a joke. Trump gushes over, well, I don't know what they're saying now. They're taking down Trump now. I hope Trump's a good guy. I have always thought he was. And I'm going to get to this, and then I'm going to stop right now. Because I guess I could be considered babbling. I'm not. I'm trying to pick up over some years and tell about CNN and the lousy press that's controlled by the Illuminati that kidnapped me. You think they want all this told? I see their smirking faces up there, and that's exactly what they are when they're talking about Trump. And I mean, I can't, it's hard to watch it. And then this poor man, if he committed the crime, God's sake, has anybody watched what I've put up here? And if you ever told it, it's such a overload of garbage been done to me and my children, and it's been deleted. And now then you're telling all this, and this man's been tried and convicted of a crime. You don't know if he did it. It is so preposterous, and he's used the words just like he did to my father. This Illuminati and the people that allowed it to happen, let me put it that way, did to my father character assassination. Other leaders they didn't like, they'd take them out, they'd create a situation, kill them. Oh, wow. And then look what they've done to me. And I'm sitting over here, they did to my father was character assassination. Now then back to what's going on with the hearings up there. And can you believe I'm sitting here, Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh? You know, I'm bouncing back and forth here, I realize, and I should turn the TV off because it just makes me mad. I can't take it, what they're doing and have been doing. Those self-righteous hypocrites, they're not even giving you the news. They tell you what is going to be the news. Okay, I turned that off. Let me get back to my thoughts here. I can't stand to see their faces lying and drawing a salary for it. They should be locked up, and I'm not kidding. They should be. Okay, Kavanaugh has been tried and convicted, and he hasn't even gone to court. Hadn't been gone to court yet. This lady, I'm going to say lady, she comes across as credible to me. He comes across as credible to me. And can you imagine? This is kind of like my father, only not to the degree. They really took my mom and dad and kidnapped me and my children tortured over here. But then the rest of his life, I better shut up because I'm going to have to wait till later in the day. When I'm laughing, it's not because I feel good. It's so ludicrous, some of the stuff that's been allowed to happen. Your press is leading you around like a little by the nose. Well, I don't mean, when I say you, they're leading the people. They create the news and you get what they want you to get. That plain and simple. They delete what they want to. Okay, now you've got Kavanaugh. Back to Judge Kavanaugh. He stood up there, and do you think when I see a man cry under the pressure he's under, and if that's lies, and I'm not sure it's not, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I've had so much done to me that I think I have the right to say a few things. The man is sitting up there, and you know, I don't find his tears or his nose when he's crying really inside. I think I empathize with him. I think this is a man, this is not put on. He's been stripped right here in front of the world of a crime he may not have, of his dignity, everything, and he may not have committed this crime. Now you go back to the woman. I can't get into court right now. I've never been able to, quite frankly, because of who I am. And I'm a hostage, for God's sake. I can't get an attorney or anything to represent me, because this whole thing might spill out and be told. Now then, I'm going to go back to her, Christine Ford. And as far as I know, she comes across as telling the truth. And I don't mean to discredit her at all, except I don't think this is a forum that you should have crucified this man on. Oh, I am going to say this, because in going back, and I really have, and I've got to tone it down before somebody tells me to, I guess, because if I'm interrupting any people on a Sunday morning here, God help me, forgive me if I am about telling the truth and being angry at what's been done to me and my children, country, mom and dad. And believe it or not, this is what's being done to this country, the mind control, the mass murders like Virginia Tech, mind control used on people. My God, I look up and see them hoping to find cures for cancer and all this. They've had a cure since before 30, the Tesla files, before they were stolen. I mean, this is what I've been writing about. Are you hearing Elizabeth tell any of this? And now then, I'm jumping back, and I'm going to talk about Christine Ford of the up here Judicial Committee and Kavanaugh. I think it's a sad thing, and what infuriates me too, while I'm being infuriated here, this is how I get through it. I kind of say it, and it's so ludicrous, and I laugh things off. My humor gets me through some of it. When I saw those three women, or young girls, I don't, it was almost like they attacked the poor man. And it's men instantaneously. They're all over the news, and if I'm not mistaken, one of them or more was being interviewed. Can you believe it? If they ever get around to telling about me and my life and what's been done to me, my husband and I went to NOW, National Organization for Women, on M Street in Washington, D.C., back 76. Well, I don't know if it's 76. It was 78. I don't want to misrepresent anything, because somebody will zero in on that. Oh, wow. Well, you made a mistake here. Well, I know it was 78 when we contacted Playboy magazine, Hugh Hefner, and one of his people that was on his staff that's listed on the cover of Playboy, Arthur Kretschmer. I've remembered his name all these years. He was going to I talked to him. He said he had either turned it or was turning it over to their attorneys. Well, then some things happened, and wasn't his fault. This last I heard of it, except Hugh Hefner married a young lady from Moulton, Alabama. That's where they took me when I was kidnapped. Itty-bitty town close to Huntsville, in the Space and Command Center, Redstone Arsenal. This is going out, and I won't get to say what I really got on here for. Anyway, it concerns me, as far as I can see, on the evidence. I hope Kavanaugh is, and I may be proven wrong. I have seen people in this whole mess that are trained, and if they can do all this, don't mind me putting this up here. I'm concerned that she might be trained. I don't doubt her memory, or I don't know, but then that's all I'm saying. I want to say this too. CNN, this was on CNN, I just watched it. It's got Queen of the World. You're talking about all of them are promoting Elizabeth, and Meghan Markle has made a big hit. The problem is that I don't know about Meghan, but she is, that is a fake monarchy, and so everybody feels that it's okay, she's biracial, so the heck with me and my mom and dad and the fact that we're the legal monarchs, I am, and my children, and dismiss all these crimes and just keep me back in Moulton, Alabama, on a pigsty farm, picking cotton and eating, all right, and all these horrible things. So here's what, this could turn out different than people thinking. Please